actually just texted to see what the deal was and if we're live or not. My name is Lisanne Basquiat. This is the first time that I have ever gone live on the YouTubes. And it happens to be, I'm just going to say it, Lisanne Basquiat Day. It happens to be Lisanne Basquiat Day, the first anniversary of Lisanne Basquiat Day. The County of San Diego on September 25th, 2025, recognized Lisanne Basquiat, that'd be me, for the work that I've done in the community and the work that I do to help legacy and to be in support of legacy. So I don't know, Joseph Raymond is the one who's really like the YouTube expert here. How do we know whether or not anyone's on?
Right now we have in the top left corner, it should tell you what's going on.
That means there's nobody on.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I was just on here, but it doesn't say that I'm here.
Okay. Well, do we give people a moment? Is it kind of similar to Instagram?
Yeah, I would say we could give them a moment.
Okay. While folks are coming in, and we're hoping folks come in, and it's okay because we will, this will be up and live for people later, or up later on for people to look at.
Hey,
let's talk a little bit about what we're doing. Hey, Billy, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing. So my name is Lisanne Basquiat. I am a neurolinguistics program expert. I teach it, I practice it. I am a life strategist who founded a company called Shaping Freedom. And Shaping Freedom is a verb that represents the work that we need to do in order to feel free as we roam this planet. And I mean free from the perspective of what we can do to help and to more positively contribute to our family legacy, and the work that we can do within ourselves. And so we've done a lot of work and have a lot of sessions and that kind of thing for Shaping Freedom. And we're talking today about really as a lead up, I'm just going to, full disclosure, as a lead up to some programming that we have going on, focused on how what happened in the past is running in today's kind of world, the things that have happened in our past and how those are showing up today. And so as a way of having this conversation, I'm a little bit nervous because it's the first time I'm on YouTube and we're like 3 minutes in. So hopefully we can cut some of this out. I don't know how it works. But as a lead into that, I am Lisanne Basquiat, my daughter Jessica, and my son Raymond. We decided that it's one thing to talk about it, and it's another thing to share how we have lived it. And so this is part 2 in a 3-part series that we're doing, talking about, it's kind of like the My Past is My Present Family Edition. And so that's what we're doing. Is this where I'm supposed to say like and share, Joseph, or is it too late?
Good fellow.
Okay, so this is my channel. The channel's been around for a while, but this is the very first time that I'm going live. So y'all have a little bit of patience. Jessica sipping tea. Like and share. We're going to get into a conversation about family legacy, and we're going to talk about how we navigated a better quality of emotional and mental health within our family. And those are the things that I teach through the programs that I facilitate, and wanted to bring that here because there is such a conversation in the world right now about what's happening with parental estrangement between parents and their adult children. And so this is our attempt to help and to contribute in a positive way to that conversation, not just talking about what the problems are, but focusing on how do you have a healthier relationship within your family? How do you take generations and generations worth of dysfunction and change that and shift it so that your children and your children's children don't have to experience the things that you've experienced? So that is what we're going to chit chat about. I know that was a pretty long intro. And so let me introduce you to my my children, my grown ass children. Who wants to go first? Do it. Do it. My firstborn.
My name is Raymond, and I am the son of this wonderful woman on the side of me. That is also my sister above me, right there as well. Um, yeah. Am I supposed to give him a whole breakdown, or?
Yeah, just a something, whatever. Just say hello to the people.
I am here. We are here to talk. We're here to be honest, and yeah, here to be honest, and we're here to talk.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Jess.
Hello.
Hello.
That was too on cue. I was really cleaning my glasses the whole time, and then you called on me, so that was so extra. But I'm gonna go with it.
Go with it.
I'm Jessica. That's my big brother. That's my mama. I'm a Leo. I live in San Diego.
Okay.
I'm a mama of one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll start there.
Let's start there. So Jessica's a Leo. I'm a Virgo. And Raymond. I gotta remember that. Raymond. We call him Joseph.
Raymond.
Raymond. He's only been referred to as Raymond under not great circumstances, but we're gonna do it here. Raymond, that's his professional name, is a Libra. And so I'll just start it with this, and then I'll kind of tighten the structure a little bit, and we'll go into it. I had Joseph. Already. I had Raymond 3 weeks after my 18th birthday. And Jessica 11 years later. Joseph is the incredible dad of a 19-year-old, incredible human being. Cannot believe he's 19. And Jessica is the incredible mother of an 8-year-old daughter who will be 9 very soon. And
our kids are 11 years apart, which is
that's right.
Hilarious. Joseph and I are 11 years apart, and our kids are 11 years apart.
And they behave like siblings, those two, like really loving siblings. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation was because we have been through it as a family. And I'm so warmed by everything that's going on today and the result of all the work that we've all done, that we've each done individually, and the work that we've come together to do as a family to create a healthy structure for ourselves, with ourselves, and then also for the space that we're, I'm saying we, because I'm the second mama, raising these children in. And so that took work, and it took vulnerability, and it took understanding, and it took hard conversations and all of that. And so that's what we wanted to share some of during this conversation. So I prepared a couple of questions.
Okay.
We haven't seen them yet. I'm nervous.
We haven't seen them. So I don't know how many people are on this thing as it seems right now. It seems to be just Billy of Media Repertoire.
It's all good.
It's all good, though. It's all good.
All good.
So if you are on, and if we can't see you, put something in the chat. Let us know who you are. Let us know where you are. That'd be important. Are you on the snowy side of the country, or are you on the West Coast, which is where we are speaking from right now? Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to talk, let's start off talking about kind of some of like where we came from, okay? And so the question that I have is, and I'm going to ask both of you this question, and then I'll answer it. If I hadn't changed, why your eyes, Jessica? Why? If I hadn't changed, where do you think we'd be right now?
I'd still be living on the East Coast.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We
Fair.
both would have been on the West Coast. I would have been cool on the East Coast, visiting once in a while.
Okay. Okay.
Repeat the question one more time.
If I hadn't changed, where do you think we'd be right now? And Jessica, I want you to come back and explain why. I don't want to just leave it there. Just why would you have still been on the East Coast?
Because I think that after we did a lot of work, we got a lot closer. And after I matured, I realized, some of the needs that I had that were different than what I expected my needs to be at the time. So back then, I was like independent. I'm fine. My mother lives across the country, but I see her when I see her. It's fine. But then once we got closer and I got older, I realized that there was a need for closeness, um, and a need for like being able to care for you and be cared for by you. So for that reason, I moved to the West Coast.
That's so funny because I'm not as defensive at all as I used to be. I used to be super, super defensive. I took it personally. I was like, she would not be here if I hadn't.
I mean, you were here for a long time
I
before.
know, but I was thinking about me. I was like, wait, I took it completely personally on the inside, just a little tick. But then I was like, let me hear that. Let me hear her out. Let's just talk about this, right?
But even that, like this honesty, the fact that you can say that, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Raymond. Where do you think if I hadn't changed? First of all, I'd love to know how I've changed. So I'd love to go into a little bit just to kind of set the stage for people. Because again, what is important is that we not like, oh, we're just great, right? Because we've done a lot of work, but let's talk about what some of the things were. And I know that for you, Jessica, it wasn't about me changing necessarily, but I'd love to know like where you were in our relationship. What were some of the things that were bothering you and that were struggles for you? So you can either start and finish your answer, Jess, or Raymond, you can go first, and then Jess can come back to it.
Okay. Do I do like a list or like do I pick?
Whatever you have, my darling daughter. Whatever you have.
I think communication.
Speak your truth.
I think communication was a really hard thing for us. I wouldn't speak up because I felt like there would be like repercussions for speaking up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't piss her off now. And you never knew what could piss you off. Like one of the things when I was younger.
I don't know. That's Raymond doing his thing.
One of the things when I was younger, it was like, oh, I'd always be grounded. Like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I'd be like, well, I said what I said. And I think as I got older, that relationship kind of stayed that way. Now I think we're in a place where I could say what I said, how I said it, and we could talk about it and be done with it. I can have an attitude about it. I could be upset about it, but at least I hear and I listen and you communicate fully with me now versus just like being mad and leaving it alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awkward for a few days. Like we don't go through that anymore. It's kind of like say it how it is, leave it on the table. We both hear each other. We both say what we need to say and it's done versus worrying about the consequences of that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be angry and I'd have a whole conversation going inside of my head and would be operating as if you heard the words that were happening inside of my head. Mm-hmm. Literally, like in my head, it was like, but I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't saying it out loud, and I would be very frustrated. And so much of the conversation I think that we were having back then, led by me, so much of that conversation was actually internal. And the truth wouldn't come out, and it would come out in ways that were biting toward each other. So where I would be feeling like, oh my gosh, I love her and I miss her, it would come out in frustration or would come out in some other way, and vice versa.
And my patience was at like 0.
Mine too.
So it would come off that way. And instead of me understanding what you meant or trying to figure it out, I'd just be like, man, whatever, she doing too much. Yeah. I would go about my business, but now it's awkward.
Yeah.
And then I think since we live so far apart, the awkwardness will kind of linger longer.
Yeah, a little bit longer. Yeah, for sure. And then what happens is you just move on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the elephant's in the room and the carpet is filled with things that we swept under it. and we just keep it moving because then we're just happy that we're speaking, and then you never go back to deal with the things. So until you, hi Joy from Brooklyn and Vanguard Culture, Susanna's on. Hello. Put Joy, you're from Brooklyn, love that. Put where you're from and a little bit about yourself if you'd like. Yeah, and so what would happen is all those things would be swept under the carpet, and then when we're actually having interactions with each other, I'm talking about bubble number 5, 6, and 7. You're talking about bubble number 4, 3, and 2. The elephants in the room bopping around, and none of that is being addressed. But we're just mad and
Which is
upset.
interesting because I'm thinking about it now, and my relationship with Raymond was the same. It was the same way. Like, we would get into our sibling stuff, but we would never clean it up. Then we'd be around each other and it would be cool for a little bit, but then one of us will piss each other off or something else is going to come up, and then it's all tension. Then we don't see each other for a while. Then we get back together and it's okay for a while. Like, it was the same. That was the way of communication in this tribe.
Right. But we would also tiptoe.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, we're really happy to see each other, but because we know that there's this torrential kind of avalanche that's possible, where there was some tiptoeing around conversations that does not exist when the truth is on the table at all times. So tip number 1 for those who are watching is what you don't clean up comes back in different ways. So the elephant in the room doesn't always show up as the elephant in the room that's bopping you in the head. Sometimes it shows up on a random day because someone's thinking about some unfinished conversation or unresolved conversation, and it pops out in a different way. So tip number 1, clean your stuff up because it's coming out whether you choose to speak it out loud or not.
I have a confession. I used to have like a like a time meter in my head for both of you. Like, I did. Like, okay, stuff has been cool for like 2 months now, so it's about due.
Yeah.
Something's about due. Yeah, like it's about that time. So let me like chill out because I know, or I wouldn't take responsibility. I'd go off about something and I'd be like, well, it only happened that way because it's about time.
Yeah.
Whole time I was the one
You were the poking and prodding, poking and
doing all of
prodding.
this.
I think people do what's easier. I think it's easier to do nothing, right? It's way easier to just do nothing. And I think it's a lot harder to actually take out the time and actually, mend relationships and make things work and figure out if you're wrong or if you're right. And I think that's what it is. I think in a lot of people's structure, and not trying to say a comparison, but most people do the same thing. They kind of just like go with the easy way out, and then it's easy out, it's easy come back. It's easy to come back when you did the easy way out.
That's right.
The hardest part is that now when you done did that for so long, it's like, I didn't get to curse you out.
So now,
now I got you.
I got you, and now you're captive, and you don't hear about the fact that that's when the conversation comes up, and it's like, well, 45 years ago, you walked past me, you woke up in the morning and you walked past me in the hallway and rolled your eyes, and half the time the other person doesn't even remember it because you haven't taken responsibility for sharing your thing. It's funny, Jess, because I would feel the same way. And I would feel there was a time where when I wasn't dealing with my own stuff, I would tiptoe because I'd be like, okay, my daughter lives across the country from me, right? And my son, can pop off any moment. And so I would find myself tiptoeing around you two that came out of my body. Like, what is that?
Or
but
I would be talking to you and you're like, I'd be talking to you about Raymond. I'm going to keep saying your name like that because I'm not
to remind yourself, right?
I'd
Remind
be
yourself of who he
talking to
is.
you about Raymond, and Raymond will be talking to you about me. And the whole time I'm like, but he's dead wrong. And you sitting here talking about, well, one day we will all work things out and things will be healed. And I'd be like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about.
But here's the funny thing.
That will never happen.
Here's the funny thing when you talk about assumptions and when you think without asking. he never went off on you to me. He would speak about his frustration in dealing with you. He would speak about the way you were behaving toward him, but he has never said anything negative about you
I
ever.
love you too, Raymond.
I love you too.
Anyway, let's move on. Joseph, if I hadn't changed, where do you think we would be?
Change. I want to add something to that. Change is a dual effort, like, because you can change for yourself, and then if you're trying to change with somebody else. So I think if you wouldn't have if you hadn't changed, that I wouldn't have saw the example. And I think that I was able to see it, like, people actually do change, and people actually do because it's easy to talk. That's what we said earlier. It's easy to talk, but then when you see somebody actually do action, you can't do nothing but respect it and honor it for what it's worth. And I think you've always, Jessica said it earlier, like sometimes you would say things and it just didn't seem right at that time. It's like, no, this is wrong. But it was actually right, because you have to take a step back sometimes.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where sometimes allowing some space into a conversation helps, because people want to solve it right now. And they don't even know what's going on. Like, the person hasn't even gotten their full sentence out, and you're jumping in to, like, well, let me help you fix the situation, right? And I think that that's why I was so excited about that muted thing that we did, which was where we did this muted series. We'll do it again later, but it was where, one group had the opportunity to speak and the other group was completely muted, like no response. You just heard what the person had to say. And then we switched it over the other way. And I think that more listening, I think people focus a lot on, like, what I'm going to say next, and I'm going to tell this person this and tell this person that. But a lot of times you're doing that based on what you think, that is what you think is happening, or you're doing it because, why are you making your face like that, Jessica? Or
because I would be listening to somebody, and the whole time I'm listening, I'm writing a list of all the stuff I'm going to say back, because it's a list in my head. So then I miss details and this and that, but I'm making sure I'm prepared for my rebuttal all the time.
That's right.
Every conversation.
That's right. And then you come back with, like, pistachio ice cream, and it's like, what? We're talking about milkshakes. Like, what are you talking about?
I would miss the reason for the conversation by focusing on details within the conversation.
Yeah.
So, can I show them? It's pretty cool. That's the muted series.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was the muted series. We did it last fall. Muted series. We're going to run them again. They were very powerful and very helpful. And so basically what we did, like I said, was one group spoke, the other group was silent, muted, not even a reaction. No.
Wait, the first emojis. Group was it men first? I think it was men.
It was men and women, men first. And it was a 3-part series. So number 1 was the men spoke, the women were muted. The second one was the women spoke, the men were muted. And then the third session was the session where I kind of talked about, and we kind of came up with some solutions and talked about some of the themes that came up. So we'll be doing that again. Keep your eyes open for that. Or if you're on now, and if you're not already part of our community, we'd love to have you be part of the community. Go to shapingfreedom.com. Follow us on all the places right? Okay, Joseph, did you finish answering the question?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good answering the question.
Okay, cool. So now, last week we talked about, like, what parenting taught us. And this week we've kind of started with some conversations around where some of the things some things that have happened. And today I want to talk about those moments. And I really want to talk about this because there is this conversation that's happening online and in person about parental estrangement and familial estrangement. And the work that we do can help. And I think that if you listen to the internets The way to resolve it is just don't speak to the person, stonewall them, go silent, just set some boundaries, and everything is okay. And those solutions could be real solutions, but until you really understand what's happening, you can't really come up with a solution. It's almost like where people set their New Year's resolutions. And they're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to lose 57 pounds. But until you truly understand what's going on, what you're eating and how it's contributing, or where you're not moving, or you're not hydrating, not sleeping, and how that's affecting your cortisol levels, blah, 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 until you really understand what's going on, any solution that you attempt to put into play has not a great chance of actually being successful and long lasting. And so in this conversation about parental estrangement and all of that, this series here is my attempt to step in to say, listen, we have a problem. Let's address that problem, because there's the parent to the child, but then there's the child to their child. So now you're talking about 3 generations that are in play that could potentially be moving forward past issues, childhood trauma, patterns and strategies that were developed in childhood that were never resolved. And what we don't resolve, we wind up pouring right into our children. I have done it. I'm sure both of you have done it in one way or another. And so what I'm suggesting, as a person who is an NLP expert, as a person who is a life strategist, someone who has had over 20 years of experience in corporate leadership, someone who has studied this work and studied human behavior informed by cultural anthropology, I say that once we start looking at our family systems, once we start taking a look at what's happening when we walk into a room and what happens in the space that exists between ourselves and the people that we love, if we don't address that, we will just continue perpetuating the same thing. So you could right now be standing in a place where you are pushing forth behaviors that were created 5 generations ago that you're not even connected to anymore. So that's the reason for this conversation. And a plug is that I'm running a program on the 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific called Your Past is Your Present. And it's basically what I'm talking about right now. What you're doing right now, what's happening in your life right now is a result of the seeds that you planted and the things that happened in your past, whether what's happening in your life right now is fantastic or not. And so Your Past is Your Present is the first of a series of programs that I'm going to be running to help people to become more aware of what's actually happening, and to become more aware of the ways that you're showing up, not from the perspective of, I'm going to jump in and fix it. That doesn't come yet. And I know a lot of you who are, especially the type A people, are like, what do you mean? Give me a thing in 2 hours. I want to fix the world. No, it's having the opportunity to become aware, because until you're aware of what's actually happening, you cannot fix it. And so my desire and hope for you, whoever's listening, is that you would do the work that it takes to get your family, get yourself first and foremost. Don't worry about them yet. Get yourself first and foremost to a place where you can hold safe space for the people that you love and the people that love you. Because there's too much estrangement, especially at a time and in a world where things are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. There's too much estrangement. Being out there by yourself, it feels good in that moment where you're mad and you kind of kick dirt in other people's faces, or you're offended and you choose to set a boundary by not speaking to the person. What that means is you are cutting yourself off from the tree. Sometimes you have to do that. All I'm suggesting is be clear about what's going on before you choose that very severe route. All right. So today I want to talk about the moments where families can lose each other. Not because anyone's evil or wrong, but really because sometimes people aren't willing. They see the problems as insurmountable and they're not willing to do the work. And I want to add as an interesting caveat that it does not take a lifetime to resolve familial dysfunction. It takes a moment to decide that you're going to take responsibility and that you're going to be accountable for you, not to change all the other people. We all know the people who go, thank you so much. You know, we all know the people who get into a room and they're like, let's go to therapy. And then the next thing you know, they're like, fix him or her or them, right? Cute, but no, that's not how it works. Okay, so, and I think we kind of talked a little bit about it before, and let me know if this is, I'm actually going to, what was I doing that made it harder for you to come to me?
You go first for once. I'm scared. Not scared, really.
Could you ask the question one more time?
What was I doing that made it harder to come to me? So Joseph's producing, directing, typing, and participating as a person. Jess, you want to start, or Joe, or Raymond, or you? Go ahead, do it. What was I doing that made it harder to come to me?
You operated from an angry space.
I did.
So no matter what I was bringing to you, it came with like the baggage of me having to handle your emotions about it.
But you were wrong. You were wrong, and I'm the mother. And you know how hard I have tried. Do you know that I was in labor with you for 21 hours?
And I have a big head, but you know, here we are.
Yeah.
I
had
one
in my family of origin, my biological, no, what do you call the family? My God, there's a word, nuclear family. We were either angry or happy. That was it. Mm-hmm. So happy was happy. La. There wasn't joy. And anger, the anger bucket got everything else. So if you were hurt, it came out as angry. If you were sad, if I felt slighted, if I felt disrespected, if I felt misunderstood, anger was, and Tony Robbins said this years ago, and it was like such an epiphany for me, that anger was my home emotion.
So I learned that from you, and then would try to have conversations with you, and it didn't mesh well.
And we were both, so I was running the pattern of survival that I had, my strategy, and you were doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so we were firing at each other, and there was no meeting point. There was no safe space. And I know for sure it was hard to come talk to me about something that was uncomfortable at the time.
Yeah,
I get that. Thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. Joseph, what was I doing that made it harder to come to me?
I think when you kind of figure what the next person is going to say, you're going off of what you expect. So I'm expecting you to react a certain way to certain things, and then after a while, let me see. I think that's kind of what, maybe I'm not explaining it right, but then I think that when you have somebody's next move figured out, you want to avoid that. So you're like, I don't even want to deal with this. So it's easier to kind of avoid that, knowing that that's what it is.
Did you feel uncomfortable around me?
I didn't feel like I could tell you. I think we present, hey, tell us anything. As a parent, you're like, yo, tell me anything. But you're supposed to present it and not react.
Tell me anything. As long
let me
as
know
I
anything.
Pissed off about
you're like, tell me anything. Shut up. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but
that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. That's exactly what it felt like. And even with my son, I used that point in life with us where things changed, and I used that earlier with him, which makes and it kind of poured like the cup. If you pour a lot in the cup and there's other cups under, everything is going to flood over, and that's kind of what I do with Xavier.
Yeah. What I appreciate about both of you as parents, and I'll speak first to you, Raymond, that you and your son, my baby grandson, you and your son respect and like each other.
Yeah.
You respect and like each other. And that doesn't mean that, and you're his dad, and it's clear that you're his dad, but he feels safe with you. And you have created for him a safe space for him to be able to express himself, and more importantly, to be able to make mistakes and not feel like a mistake meant the end of the world. I remember, and I'm not going to get too deep into it because I'm not going to throw my Xavier baby under the bus, but something happened recently where I was like, what?
Do you know how Joseph and I were looking at each other because of how calm you were in that situation? And Joseph and I were like,
we're talking about a different situation.
No, but that's a good point.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's interesting.
Yeah. Joseph and I were in that house shaking. I walked off. I disappeared. I was like, I have no parts in this.
I was like, no.
Yeah, immediately.
I walked off because I was like, okay, this might be the moment.
This might be the moment. Nah.
And then it was so calm, and I was like, who is she?
This, you actually weren't there. This was something that happened at a restaurant, and something happened. I'm not gonna get into it, and my heart beat a little bit because I was like, I know Joseph has been all this may be the thing, this may be a problem, and
I'm all curious now. Put it in the private chat.
I will not. I may not even tell you later. And Raymond looked at Xavier, his son, and he said, "Are you okay?" Just like that. And Xavier was kind of like, and then this is the whole thing is a beautiful part. A few minutes later, after we just let him sit in whatever crazy thing he was going through at the moment.
What was he, hungry?
He was, hangry. He and Emma, these two.
I knew it.
Nothing, everything is
hangry.
Perfect until these two little humans get hungry. They're a whole other person.
That's why when we went to that family dinner in New York, I took him across the street and got him a whole sandwich and got Emma a bagel because I didn't want to deal with them.
Like, they definitely food.
So Xavier looks up a couple of minutes later, and we all just kept talking, and we were just like, all right, we're just going to leave you, give you space. We didn't say it, but that was like the unspoken thing. And he looked up and he said, I'm sorry. I apologize. This was what was going on. That was what was going on. And it was so resolved. And I was so happy about that because what that told me and showed me was the safe space that we all have to be who we are, to make mistakes, and to not be perfect all day, every single day.
Yeah. I also like that both of our kids call each other when they're struggling. They call, like, Emma calls Joseph if she's having a hard day or she's having trouble with her homework. If Zay's having a rough day or whatever or needs to talk about something, he'll call me. Like, it's nice.
Balance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a couple more questions. And then
sometimes I'm overwhelmed and I don't have the answers. Like, I just call.
But you can say that.
I do, which is what I've learned.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that you can and you do say that, because I think that's where a lot of folks, we have this idea as parents that we're supposed to be perfect and that we're supposed to have it all together. You can't share a house with a sibling without at some point telling each other off. So why do we expect to be in the house with people and to never have, a moment where we're not our perfect self? Question: why do you think, or do you understand let's move into this now so that we have about another 7 minutes or so. Do you understand why some adult kids choose distance or no contact?
Joseph, you want to take this or me, or you want to rock paper scissors it?
If you want to go, you could go out, or I could go. If you
You
want me
go,
to
you go, you go.
go. Ask it again so I can type it. I'm sorry.
Do you understand why some adult kids choose distance or no contact?
Adult kids choose distance.
Or no contact with their parents.
Okay.
It didn't pop up anywhere.
I didn't put it up yet.
Okay.
I'm about to. Choose distance with their parents.
No, do you understand? I said with that, that's wrong. Do you understand why some adult kids choose distance or no contact? Let's just say that.
Or no contact. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, I'm about to pop the question on the screen. Sorry.
I thought you were going to say pop the balloon.
Oh no.
I don't know why, but
I'm just saying, if you used to beat me when I was a kid, I wouldn't want to live near you and have my kids near you.
Yeah.
You used to curse me out and all types of crazy. Like if it was like that, I would want to keep my kids and myself or my sanity far away.
I agree.
Okay.
I think, yeah, like you want to protect your future as well. You know, like if you didn't have your past protected, then you're going to feel like, you know, I want to protect what I have going forward. I was adding on to what Jess said.
Yeah.
Do I understand why adult kids choose distance? I keep mentioning easy and hard because that's really what it's about. The easiest thing to me is when you're doing things for people that you love, right? It's easier to just do the right thing for the people that you love. But it's when you're thinking in a different mentality, then distance is way easier. Just stay away. But after a while, how long can a person stay away when they, stood away for so long? Like after a while, it's like you didn't have any contact. They don't know what's going on. You still never resolved anything. So, ultimately you just carried it on. Yeah. So I understand why it occurs, but it's also no contact is a sign of something's wrong.
Yeah.
So.
And sometimes that no contact or distance cannot even be about the parent. It could be about the adult child. So somebody's dealing with depression or they're not where they want to be or they're shamed. They're not going to want to come around.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I'll say this. I do understand why some adult kids choose distance or no contact. And I think that some of the reasons are because if your child comes around you, if your child doesn't feel safe when they're around you, it's understandable that they, as an adult person, will make the decision that they don't want not just themselves, but they don't want their children to be in the space with you.
Mm-hmm.
I can also understand what happens when there is a parent who refuses to do their work, who refuses to acknowledge the damage that they're doing to the family and to the relationships within their family because they've chosen to not do their work. I can also understand why some adult children choose no contact from their parent, the person that raised them, the person that birthed them. No adult child wants that.
Yeah.
I don't care what they say, they do not want that. And it's also understandable that sometimes they do that because they see the relationship with that person as being the problems as being insurmountable. And typically it's because that parent is refusing to acknowledge the things that the entire family is having to navigate on a daily basis that they refuse to see. I can understand, because here's the thing, we're talking about parents right now, but you think about your relationship with anyone, a sibling, a coworker, a lover, a husband, whoever. Think about that person and think about how you would feel having to deal with a person who is toxic, and refusing to actually acknowledge it. Or the person who comes to you, and I was joking about this earlier, to say things like, well, you know how hard my life is, and you know what happened with me back in 1967, and leading from their own pain, their own unresolved pain. And I can also understand how a person can attempt to live their entire life without ever addressing their own pain.
Or the parent who, when you bring something up to that parent, they straight up tell you that never happened. So
that never happened. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Or
well, I did my best, so well.
Or the parent who, when I was joking about this earlier, the parent who says, I was in labor for 15 hours. The kid is 400 years old. And you still talk about how you change their diapers and how you put a roof over their head. You're supposed to.
Blaming baby weight on your 40-year-old kid.
I have done that. I would be snatched if it was. I've done that. I'm joking. So I do understand why some adult children choose to do that. And for those adult children who may be watching this now or watching it later, I will say this: your parent has to make the decisions that they need to make in order to live in a way that is not weighed down by their past trauma. They have to make that decision. You cannot change that person. When you do your work, when you make your decision to do your work for you. Don't think about that other person. First, do your work for you, because what I can tell you is that the real shift that happened in my family and in other families of people that I've worked with and people that I've observed is you do your work, and it cannot help but positively impact the people around you. And you want to know how I know that to be true? Because we all know this person, a person who is going to start some mess at every family thing. We all know that person, either in our family or in the families of people that we know, where as soon as that person walks in the door, they're going to take their negativity and just spray it all over the room and crop dust the room with their negativity and their nonsense. But here's the thing. If a person does that with negative stuff, imagine what happens when you crop dust the room with your healed self, or when you learn how to truly set boundaries and are able to stand in a space with full confidence and full composure and emotional regulation. Other people have to respond to you differently when you do that. So, yeah. Riva, I'm happy to see you here. I choose not to be in a relationship with my father because I understand that. I understand that. And I will say this: understanding what's happening, even when you can't access the parent, or when you are not ready to or choose not to reconcile with that parent, the effects of that person do not go away just because you stop speaking to them. So sometimes you cannot speak to a person and choose to have them outside of your life, but that unresolved thing within yourself winds up running the show, whether that person is physically there or not. Okay. So it's 5:57. I have a 6:00 thing that I got to do. Do you all have last words? Something you want to say?
Be patient.
Seek therapy.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not sharing this. We are sharing this genuinely with the desire and intention to help. We're not sharing this conversation to flex about what's happening in our lives, because this took work. It took vulnerability. And first and foremost, it took a decision for each one of us individually, for ourselves, and then amongst each other. It took a decision for us to say, you know what? This stuff that's going on, we don't want it. And we sure don't want to be the person shoveling shit. Can you curse on YouTube?
Yeah.
Shoveling shit from my daddy, his daddy, her uncle, her, and moving it over. I don't want to be this person. What I want to do is take all the positive things, bring those forward, and then fill in the rest. And that's what I want and hope for anyone who's listening to this and who's watching this. Do your work, because I guarantee you that if you do your work, you create a door that allows you to bring joy into the space of your relationships within your family. And when we do that, that is us paying attention to the fact that generational wealth is not just material. We focus so much on achievement as safety. If I can just make sure my kids are educated, make sure my kids buy a house, make sure my kids have this and have that, that's all great. Trust me, I love the money. Okay, I love money. But I love the freedom that money can afford you, right? Which is why I'm an entrepreneur and all that. But without emotional and mental well-being, you're poor. And you're living in deficit to yourself, to the people that you could positively impact, and to your world. So let's do better. All right. Thank you all who hung out. I appreciate it. Joy, Riva, Susanna, Billy, anyone else who was on, thank you so much. And for those who are listening to the replay, put some comments in there and we'll come back. If you put your questions and your concerns. And don't forget, Past is Your Present, this on the 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific. Get yourself into that room. All right. I'm out. Take care. Thank you.